Well, joining me now is Nabila Ramdani, a journalist who's written about Libya many times and also interviewed Colonel Gaddafi and his son. Hello to you, good evening, thank you for joining us. How do you feel about the events that have unfolded tonight? Not just any old bombardment, not even a no-fly zone. I think we can regard to it as a no-military zone.
I think, you know, it all goes back to the terms of the UN resolution. I think the vagueness and indeed the broadness of the UN resolution is disturbing because...
Use all necessary measures.
Absolutely, yeah. Because it excludes occupation very openly, but it doesn't exclude invasion. And that's extremely worrying because any military strategist will tell you that you do not win a war in the air, but you do win a war with troops on the ground. And it leaves the door open to that scenario. Yeah,
we're just hearing actually from the United States about the bombardment this evening from ships and submarines and planes. They're saying that Gaddafi's air defences have been severely disabled by a barrage of US-led missile strikes. It says that Gaddafi's air defence systems are disabled and it's too soon to predict what he and his ground forces may do in response to today's strikes. Indeed, he's calling on all Libyans to arm themselves and respond. How do you feel this is going to play out over the next hours, maybe days?
Well, I think we have to go back to the very reason why, the official aims of this UN resolution, because it officially claims to, you know, protect civilians and the violence and let the Libyan people determine their own future. Well, it actually will achieve the exact opposite because it is clearly not protecting civilians. We have very good reasons to believe that, you know, we cannot rely on precision bombing and there is bound to be civilian casualties. It is not ending the violence. If anything, it leads to an expansion of the conflict and indeed of the bloodshed. And we are not letting the Libyan people decide for themselves because what is this resolution doing effectively is to turn a legitimate indigenous rebellion, which has failed effectively, into a UN-led and indeed US-led war, all-out war in yet another Muslim country.
But when you look back in history and you think of Rwanda, the international community stood and did nothing, decided not to get involved. Even Bosnia. It was a long time before the international community acted, and it would always be argued too late. Lots of massacres. And even Iraq as well, again, argued that the original Gulf War to protect Kuwait, that was the moment US soldiers should have continued into Iraq and tried to free it of Saddam Hussein. If you don't act, the alternatives can be a lot worse.
Well, why are we not acting anywhere else? Why are we not acting in Bahrain? Why are we not acting in Yemen? Why are we not acting in other parts of the world where there's a host of autocratic regimes? Sorry to interrupt, but I mean, it could be argued that the West is reacting to Bahrain, that they've opened up dialogue, that they've condemned the actions against the protesters. Nobody wants to jump into war straight away. And they haven't with Libya necessarily. They persistently called on Gaddafi to restrain his forces, to hold back and allow free and fair protests. Can we be clear about the situation, what the situation is in Libya? Colonel Gaddafi controls 75% of the population. We are not talking about the full-scale revolutions that occurred in Tunisia or in Egypt, where the vast majority of people were united peacefully to get rid of their dictators. Libya is a completely different scenario. You have a minority of armed rebels who, for all legitimate reasons, challenged a very nasty regime, but they failed to do so. Is it the job of the West to dislodge Colonel Gaddafi? I do not believe so.
Nabila Ramdani, we must leave it there, but many thanks for speaking to us this evening.